Here's another person who knows what he's doing. Our first guest of the evening. As I said, he is a writer of horror fiction, screenplays, and music, and now comics. He is the longtime road manager of Guns N' Roses. He has a graphic novel, Consensual Violence, which came out late last year and is now available. Definitely worth checking out. Welcome to the program, Del James.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on Geek Hard tonight.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. Now, I said something when we were off air, and you said to me, well, you got to say it on air. And you're like, you're totally right. I do have to say it. Because, again, longtime listeners of the show know that I'm a big wrestling fan. And from what I hear, you are also an AEW guy, so that's good.
I am an AEW guy.
That's
Tony
good.
Khan is the savior of professional wrestling.
Yes, he is. I 100% agree with you on that, sir. But I have a longtime lover of wrestling, longtime lover of comics. A lot of times when the medium of comics has brought wrestling in, hasn't been the greatest, mix, hasn't been the greatest recipe. And this book, the wrestling feels authentic, and the story that surrounds it is also just as compelling. And so it's great to read such an interesting story that also stays true to the mat. So this original idea was a screenplay, correct?
It is an unproduced, unread screenplay, also called Consensual Violence. And I'm fortunate that I have, really cool friends. And one of them is Jeremy Wagner, the CEO of Dead Sky Publishing. So Jeremy was talking to me about possibly doing some writing that would be published via Dead Sky. I'm like, I got some shit, right? I got some stuff I need to get out of my system. And then Steve Wands, the chief operating officer over there, he taught me the script technique for comic books. He taught me that language that was brand new to me, but since there are no set guidelines that you have to abide by entirely, I came close enough so that the artist could interpret what I had written. I'm pretty good at giving directions, and Arjuna Susini, the artist, just knocked it out of the park. Everybody involved with Consensual Violence, I couldn't be more grateful to them.
Yeah, no, it's a great team. Of course, that's the thing. As a longtime fan of comics, a lot of people might not know this, but the amount of great artists that come out of Italy is astounding. Like, such an amazing comic book scene there and now a lot of those guys are now working for big companies in the States as well. And Arjuna does an amazing job in this.
He crushed it. He crushed it. And he was patient with every one of my nerdy requests. Like when the luchadoras are at the ticket kiosk, I'm like, can I show you the masks and you draw them? So he's drawing Tiger Mask. He's drawing Primo Dragon and all this stuff. And then Julia Brusco had to color them the right way, because there's a difference between Tiger Mask and Black Tiger, and we got to have both. So.
Yeah, no, the Easter eggs you put in this as well, because again, we'll get to the story in a minute, but the Easter eggs you put in, the masks are one of them. You had him draw the authentic wrestling mask, but then you also, at one point when they're going to the arena, you see a guy with an AEW shirt and a guy in a GCW shirt and stuff like that. The opponent that they're wrestling is Mercedes Molina, who does kind of have a passing resemblance to Mercedes Moné. So, it's like all these little things here and there. Was that like for you, like the fun, like after effects, like I've written the story now I can add in all these Easter eggs?
Dude, you couldn't be more right. I mean, my geekdom, my nerddom, it's evident. It's all sprinkled throughout. A 1976 Gray Camaro as a character. Fuck yeah.
It's a really cool car. Like, who wouldn't want to be driving one of those? Like I when I was growing up, I wanted to be Smokey and the Bandit for the longest time. Like, who doesn't want a really cool, classic looking car?
Dude, they're characters. They're characters in movies, man. Bullet and all that kind of stuff. That's why we love these, American muscle cars, American hot rods.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. Now, this story is a wrestling story, but it's also a classic exploitation story, a crime story. a rape revenge story, all that stuff into it. For people who haven't heard about the nuts and bolts of the book, what is the story all about?
Consensual Violence is indeed a rape revenge story. Kristen Moore, an aspiring wrestler, is violated, is abused, is raped by her trainer to the extent that she's disfigured. So she has to put on a mask and seek work in Mexico as you know, a luchadora. Rape is an ugly subject, you know. I mean, you say the word and automatically a big X appears, you know. But it's an unfortunate reality, and somehow consensual violence became my feminist statement. You know, I'm showing you something that's very wrong, that I'm taking you on an adventure that involves, you know, wrestlers and dirty cops and cartel members and all these, you know, tropes of exploitation cinema that leads you to the third act, the finale, the climax, which is violator versus victim. And you know who we're all rooting for. We're all rooting for Kristen to get her comeuppance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it as I'm going through the story and I'm reading it, like, you know, I could see how it could have been a movie at some point, because, you know, it just has that kind of visual, you know, flow of everything and the pacing
And
of
hey,
it.
it still can be a movie.
It needs to become a movie.
Exactly.
This is phase one of Consensual Violence lifeline. If it becomes a movie, that would be, you know, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the icing, all kinds of fucking, just, you know, a lot of work went into the original script. A lot of work went into the comic book script, and it's not done. You know, we're here promoting now. You know, it could have come out when it came out, November 25th, and be done now. But no, that's not it. This bitch got lots of legs to run.
Speaking of which, would you, if it gets to that point and it becomes a movie, would you want to put your own name in the hat to try and direct it?
I would much rather be a producer and make sure somebody with a better eye gets it done. Although the secret of directing is to have a great DP. Okay, DPs are the secret weapon, just like Arjuna was the secret weapon on this thing. You know.
Yeah, definitely. We got some emails that came in. Cody L writes, Del, good luck with the new project. Whoa, what a great guest tonight. Hey, does Axel still show up late to the gigs?
Hey, if you've followed us since 2016, rare is the occasion that Axel is late. He's actually been early, and that fucks the rest of us up because we're not ready for him, you know? But, you know, it is 2026, man.
Yeah, totally. We got David E. writing in, hello tonight. Del has a New York accent. Italian? I hope that the novel is a hit. Thanks for managing the band. Big fan of theirs.
Del is Spanish. Mom, Barcelona. Dad, Cuba. Mamaroneck, New York, until I was 21 years old. Los Angeles ever since.
Well, there you go. And then longtime listener Daredevil writes in, wow, what a topic. I hope the graphic novel does well. Shocking. It is meant to be. Is it meant to be? Well, yeah, I would think so. It's an exploitation story. Yeah.
It's not a user-friendly comic book for children. I'm a grown-ass man and I write for adults. If I had a reviewer say, you know, that this maybe should have a trigger warning. No, if you're triggered, I'm accomplishing something correctly.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. What's also with this story is, again, you know, we set up longtime wrestling fan. You got to, when you were a kid, wasn't it the first match you saw was Bruno Sammartino defending the belt?
Bruno Sammartino versus Waldo Von Erich at the Westchester County Center in White Plains, New York. I also saw like Haystacks Calhoun. I saw superstar Billy Graham defend the belt at Madison Square Garden against Mil Mascaras. And then the following month is when he drops the strap to Bob Backlund.
Yeah. There you go. So that, and then of course, as you went on as a wrestling fan, you know, you saw matches with Roddy Piper, Chavo Guerrero Sr., which you have to say senior now because his son also goes by Chavo Guerrero. So it's a lot of big moments. But I heard you say in '93 you got threatened by Dr. Death Steve Williams?
It was a friendly threat to me.
Okay.
Dr. Death, Terry Gordy, and one other wrestler came to a Guns N' Roses show when Guns were doing the Tokyo Dome in '93. And I've never seen such a whirlwind of consuming everything in sight and devastation to like the hospitality room. These guys, and I mean, in like 5 minutes, it was like a fucking tornado hit. So at about 4 minutes in, you know, Dr. Death comes up to me. Hey, brother, you wouldn't happen to have any downs on you? No, Mr. Death, I don't. So, if I grab you by your ankles and shake you a little, no pills are going to fall out, right? No, Mr. Death. I mean, fuck me. How great is that?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. My God.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And speaking of wrestling, tonight I'm going to a show at the 1720 in Los Angeles. The 1720 Warehouse hosts like black metal shows and thrash shows, and it occasionally has wrestling shows. And tonight's a Circle 6 show where every match is in the cage, and it's all like deathmatch wrestlers like Schlack, Matthew Justice, Cruel, all these, you know, the Kogar brothers, all these professional violent savages unleashed in the confines of a steel cage. Yeah, we're definitely going to be there. And if you're in Los Angeles and not afraid to risk your life, because this is like one of the shadiest streets ever, 1720 Circle 6 Wrestling tonight.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because like you telling that story, you know, about Dr. Death and just how like amazed you were with how all consuming they were. I just like, part of me is like that's a crazy story in contrasting of being around bands like Guns N' Roses and, you know, and those like, because they've partied too, you know, like you've seen some partying over the years.
I have indeed seen some party, and I was part of the problem until I got sober and became part of the solution. And, you know, when you're invited to someone's show and they have free beer or free whiskey or whatever, of course, part of the ritual, the fun of it all is to get fucked up and go see your friends or, you know, someone who you admire perform. And we've been known to put a dent or two in a dressing room, but the wrestlers were on a whole nother level. The wrestlers made the rock stars look like fucking little girls, man.
Oh my God.
Amazing. It was dude, 93. And I still remember it like it was yesterday.
That's
Just
amazing.
You know, picture the Tasmanian devil spinning around inside a fucking dressing room, and then you have an idea what happened.
Oh my God. We got another email from Tom M who says, hey to Mr. Green and Andrew. Very interesting topic and guest tonight. Good luck with the graphic novel. Love Guns N' Roses.
Everybody loves GNR. That's the reality, right?
GNR are such an important part of rock history. Yeah. You know, Appetite for Destruction is to a certain generation what Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols was to the youth of England, man. It's an important record. And that's why it still holds true today. You know, people love that record as well as other records so much that they come out in droves and you know, Guns N' Roses is a brand, like the Rolling Stones are a brand, like AC/DC is a brand. And there's few and far of those, you know, that there are bands that play theaters, that play clubs. And then there's bands who play arenas and stadiums. And I'm fortunate to work for one of the bands that plays arenas and stadiums.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We got an email in from Steve N, which I'm guessing they're referring to Hogan, because it says, Del, did you know Hulk?
I never knew Hulk Hogan, and I am not a fan of Hulk Hogan.
And neither am I, so I'm glad to hear that, sir. There you go.
He did nothing to help anyone other than himself. He was always just looking out for himself. And his politics were real shitty politics.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you on that. And you see, we're Canadian, so I'm a Bret Hart guy, and Bret didn't like Hogan either. So there you go.
I went to a wrestling show. I don't remember the promotion. It was in Toronto, and it was around Halloween time, and everybody was a zombie. It was like zombie wrestling for Halloween. It was fucking awesome. I wish I could remember the name of the promotion.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, we got a few promotions here in Toronto. We got Super Kicked, we got Greektown Wrestling. There's a few other ones as well. And they all put on some pretty super shows. It's pretty tight indie shows here.
Yeah, the indie scene is strong. The independent wrestling scene is very strong. I go to a lot of GCW shows, Game Changer Wrestling, and I mean, it is absolutely worth every dollar spent. The talent, the match quality, I can't praise GCW nearly enough.
No, totally.
That's awesome. So with the content of the book, outside of, the main thrust of it, like we've got wrestling, big time. Have you had a chance to hear from any wrestlers that may have had a chance to read the book for you?
I have distributed books to friends of mine and people who know other people. And so far, everyone's reaction has been very positive. The Blue Meanie from ECW is a good friend and supporter, and he really dug it. Friends of mine were in Japan just recently for Tanahashi's retirement match.
Yeah.
And I gave them a bunch of books, and they went to a bunch of shows, and they gave a copy of my book to Jun Kasai, the deathmatch wrestler, who's like legendary, the man who shines in blood, the crazy monkey.
Oh my gosh.
So that they sent me a picture of Jun Kasai with my book was such a thrill.
That's awesome.
We got an email in from Joyce I that says, besides Guns, what person was the most famous and interesting to Dell?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but something I will never forget, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, was when I was a journalist for Rip Magazine. When I was a senior editor over at Rip Magazine, I got the assignment to interview Keith Richards when they were on the Steel Wheels tour, and he was having his first solo record, Talk Is Cheap, come out. So I went to the Cotton Bowl and interviewed Keith Richards backstage. I mean, come on, this guy's a living, walking, talking legend. So Keith Richards is the correct answer.
There you go. Definitely. I don't think the man can be killed by conventional weapons. That's just
no. He's a superhero.
Exactly. Yeah. We got an email in from Larry J, which is throwing out a question I was saving for the end, and that is, where is the book available?
The book is available via Amazon.com, Consensual Violence by Del James. Also, if you go to a comic book store and you see that they're not carrying Consensual Violence, please get it on the buyer or the clerk's radar. They don't have to immediately buy it right away, but just all word of mouth. Anybody who reads Consensual Violence and reviews it either by posting about it or posting a review on Amazon, all of this is helpful. Like I said, Dead Sky Publishing is an indie. We're up against the majors. We are the underdog. So everybody who helps, like this podcast, like this interview, you're helping the underdog, and it's greatly appreciated.
Well, definitely. Well, we're happy to help because it's a great book.
Yeah.
Now, with the book itself, because there's a paced out wrestling match throughout the close to the beginning of the first act. What was it like for you to get to book your own match here?
Dude, I mean, come on. Every wrestling fan who's a legit hardcore wrestling fan, fantasy books, okay? And when in real life, when things don't work out the way we would have booked them, we argue amongst ourselves how much better it would have been if Vince or Tony Khan or Triple H had done it our way, blah, 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 blah. I was talking to Brett Greenberg from GCW before the last GCW show here, and the night before, Effie had lost to Priscilla Kelly. And the night I saw him, he was going to try to get his belt back. And as I'm watching the show on home on Triller, I'm like, Effie should lose. Effie should lose to get even more heat on him, more desperation. That's me fantasy booking. And then it happened. So when I seen Brett, I was like, yo, you nailed it. That was the best fucking call ever. That's exactly what I would have done, but yeah, of course. So scripting the wrestling matches was a lot of fun. Using all the wrestle speak, all the wrestling cliches, Yeah, man, it's done with love.
Yeah, I
Did,
love the inclusion of a poison rana. I always love the inclusion of a poison rana, definitely.
was when you were conveying that, was there any kind of confusion
Oh,
or questions?
there was all kinds of confusion. My man Arjuna is not as hardcore about professional wrestling as I am. So he thought Luna Vampira may actually be able to wrestle in stilettos. To put a squash to that.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
not be that.
No.
She'd have her ankle broken in 2 seconds, for God's sake.
And everybody reading the book would be like, "Oh, your book's bullshit. How can you
Right.
put on these shoes?"
Because you are right. Wrestling fans would totally do something like that.
They notice those things.
Yeah.
My God. We got another email from Larry J that says, Dell, seriously here, send the script to Quentin Tarantino. He will bite. He lives for these types of stories. Good luck. Larry's
Thank you.
giving out advice.
Thank you.
there.
I got fucking Quentin Tarantino on speed dial
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, and I'm pushing the buttons, brother.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
if if any producers, any directors, anybody would like to read a script and can help move it along, I'm on all the socials.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Of course, this is your first graphic novel, but it's not your only one. You've got some in the works already. The next book you got coming out is No Saints in Myanmar. Quickly, what's that one all about?
If Consensual Violence was my feminist statement, No Saints in Myanmar is my chivalry isn't dead story. Basically, a high-priced escort goes to a hotel to entertain a mafioso, a high-ranking mafioso in the triad and in the Asian mob. Well, he takes too much cocaine and too many boner pills, has a heart attack, and dies. She's super fucked right now. So she goes to the bodyguard who delivered her and is like, help me. He has to make a decision whether or not to kill her right there or help her get away. And that's the crux of that one. No Saints in Myanmar. Myanmar is the most lawless, ruthless place on the planet. It's the last wild, wild west there is. So that's why it was set there. And this is, if Consensual Violence was my homage to like El Santo Blue Demon movies, the thing that influenced me while writing No Saints that had a big influence upon me was Sam Peckinpah, and in particular, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
There you go. My God, man.
Yeah, I up the violence, I up the gnarliness, I up the stakes.
Yeah, you're speaking to my grindhouse heart. You really are.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's grindhouse. It's exploitation. It's it's the love of the shotgun blast, and you show the shotgun blast.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just before we go here, I just got to bring this up because I saw it on your socials. What was it like for you to get a shout out in Arena, Mexico at a CMLL show?
Oh, dude. So there's a fella named Christian Kaimet who has one of the most valuable lucha libre mask collections on the planet. He's got original Santo masks. He's got Mil Mascaras masks. He's got masks upon masks upon masks, and he works for the company. He works for CMLL. So he's always my guest at Guns N' Roses shows, and he takes care of me and my people when we want to go see CMLL, which is often sold out. So prior to the matches, we got to meet some of the luchadors and take pictures with the book and all that kind of stuff, which is really far out. But he set up that shout out, and it happened to be my wife Chayla's birthday that day. So when you see her react, it's because they're wishing her happy birthday, and Sold Out Arena Mexico is clapping. So it was really cool.
That's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
That's beautiful. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I've never been to Arena Mexico, but seeing the crowds there, the fact that they get in, like the way they sing and everything like that, they serenade Mystico to the ring and all
Yes.
that.
I have been twice, and there's nothing like it. The energy, I've been to a Super Bowl, and the energy is comparable. The crowd is just alive and roaring. I've been to matches in Japan. I've been to matches in Mexico. I've been to matches in Canada. I've been to matches in the States. And there is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing like the live experience at Arena Mexico.
My
That's
God,
awesome.
man. Well,
Adele, I want to add one quick thing because of what you just said there. What do you think is more exciting as a fan to be in the audience, being at a wrestling show like CML or at a stadium show?
At a stadium rock show,
Yeah.
they're apples and oranges. You go
Okay.
for different reasons. You know, if I'm going to see Slayer, it's because I want to see Slayer.
Fair.
If I'm going to see death matches, it's because I want to watch death matches. And just like we love movies, we love records, we love t-shirt collecting, we love action figures, you know, we love them all. And rock concert or wrestling matches, yeah, I'll take both.
well, there you go.
Fair.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Del. Again, really enjoyed Consensual Violence.
Great book.
You can pick it up on Amazon. What's the name of the publisher again?
Dead Sky Publishing, and Dead Sky are an indie. Dead Sky are they're doing this for the right reason because of love of the genre. And there are other books like The Girl, the Priest, and the Devil that are bangers. If you see the Dead Sky logo, if you see the Dead Sky label, give it a shot. I'm pretty certain if you like Consensual Violence, you'll like their other titles.
Well, there you go. And if you're a comic fan, go into your local comic shop and tell the owners there you want some Dead Sky Publishing, you want some Consensual Violence up on the stands there. Del, it's been a great time talking with you. When the next book comes out, when No Saints in Miramar comes out, we definitely want to have you back on.
Oh, yeah.
It would be my pleasure.
All right. Have yourself
That's
a great
awesome.
night, man. Enjoy the wrestling tonight.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.